Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today at LittleAfrica BronxNews. I want to say welcome to all of our panelists today. As you can see, we have quite a panel here. Today's program is going to be about district leaders, the role of district leaders here in our community and in, of course, the Bronx Democratic Party. I want to thank everyone. I want to thank all of the district leaders who have joined us today for this program. And I'd like to introduce each of the district leaders, and then following the introduction of each district leader will have 3 minutes to tell us about themselves and the areas that they represent. Joining us today is Miss Princess Lanita Jones, Miss Yudelka Tapia, Miss Pamela Stewart-Martinez, Miss Irene Estrada, and then representing our male district leaders, we have Martha Sierra, Kevin Riley, Jean Edwards, and Yves Filius. So again, everyone, welcome. Thank you for participating in today's forum, and we will start off with Miss Lanita Jones, if you could tell us about yourself.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Mona, for inviting me to your panel. My name is Lanita Jones. I go by the name of Princess Lanita. I've been living in the 79th district for 50 years, over 50 years. And I've been involved in the Stop the Violence event for 19 years. This make our 20th anniversary, 2020. I also do a lot of community events. I work beside Eric Stevenson, our former assemblyman, on plenty of his situations. And I host radio. I was involved in the Children's Shout Out Foundation, where we teach the children how to cook and how to, you know, just know like right from wrong and things like that at the foundation. I also been on a committee with the housing meetings. I was a sergeant of arms as far as being a part of the meetings. What else I've done? I've host radio. I host a number of radio shows. I host TV in the community, and what else? I've been involved with the breast cancer awareness, AIDS awareness. I've done a number of things with the community and outside of the community. So I'm very aware of the community, and people are very aware of me, myself, as far as participating in different events and stuff like that.
Fantastic. And now we'll go on to Yudelka Tapia.
Hi, everyone. I was selected district leader like 10 years ago. So I've been around, and before that I was the state committee for the 86th Assembly District since it was created in 2002. And the most thing that I do with passion is, education. I have 4 children that I raised in this district. And of course, education is the most important thing for the right future for our children. So that's one of my passion. That's why I do a lot of work in the community with that, and also housing, of course, because it's one of the issues that are most impacting our poor neighborhoods and the people that live in our neighborhoods, because we know that many of our neighbors and many of the people that live in our community are making are paying more than 50% on time of the salary for rent. And then that doesn't allow them to actually raise their family with dignity. So I've been involved with that in a long time in many other issues, and only affordable housing, but also um, um, domestic violence and many other issues. I mean that affect our community. Over the years, I've been involved in all of them, and I've been have impacted the community through that. But this pandemic has changed many things, and we have been doing a little bit more to address the actual issues that are actually happening in our community. So I've been involved in many other things. I mean, bringing PPEs and bringing the food and answering the phones and telling people what they have to do if they are scared that they're going to be evicted because, I mean, they haven't been able to pay the rent because, I mean, they are not getting the unemployment because, I mean, they never got the unemployment. Because for many other reasons that these things are happening now. And so we're working on that, and that's the work of one of the things that the district leader should be doing, being the liaison between the elected officials and the community, because I mean we are the face in there. Even when we are a volunteer job, I think, I mean, that is very important, the job what we do, because we know to make the phone calls to the person that actually can solve the issues that are brought to our attention, and being involved in everything that happens in the community. We also, I mean, our district leaders are the ones who select the county leader every 2 years. And also we work, I mean, very closely with the county committees that are elected, because I mean, the county committee are not under us, a district leader, but I mean, because they are also elected. And they are a very, I mean, important part on the whole organization chart, like I call it, of the county, the county committee, of the county board, the county direction, and all, however we're going to call it. And it has to do because, I mean, that's the most little part of the community that is elected to make decisions and to be involved and to be at the table where important things are discussed regarding what is going on in this little space what they represent, because every district leader represent an ED, an electoral district. So that part is important for us to listen to what is going on in the part that they actually represent, and they are the ones who are more equipped to give us that information and type of stuff. But I mean, yes,
I'm gonna
I've been out there.
Or if you went way more than your 3 minutes, but
Okay, I'm so sorry.
No, that's,
I am an only child and I talk too much all the time.
It's okay, but don't worry. We're gonna get into all of that stuff. So next, Miss Irene Estrada, please.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm excited to meet all the other district female and male leaders. My name is Irene Estrada. I am an ordained minister. Some of the events that I have taken care of since my district from 1982 to 2020. I am clergy for the 49th precinct. I am a graduate of the NYPD Civilians Academy. I was a former Community Board 11 member. I've been with the American Red Cross since 1975. Have worked with them in hurricanes, tornadoes, and I also worked in Ground Zero. I am the director of the Mini Olympics Youth from 1994 to 2020, Attendance Association President for 2019 Wallace Avenue, and the list goes on from PTAs, SLTs, and I'm a retiree from the Board of Education. As a district leader, I know that we are the voice of the people, and not some people, but all people. Regardless of immigration status, we represent those who are undocumented. We are a sanctuary community. They are to have all the services and agencies as those who are Americans. And I encourage you guys to make sure to remember that, because regardless if they vote or they do not vote, they belong in your community and they also need representation. So I work very closely with the NYPD, from 1 PP to the 49th precinct. I'm all over the borough when it comes to the police department. As a female district leader, I'm encouraged to not only be the voice of the people, but also it gives us a format. And the format is that as a mother of 2 NYPD daughters, My grandchildren graduated from NYU and Mount Vincent, and I have two other grandchildren who are 5 and 4. And the reason I stress children and family is that even during COVID-19, that's all that we were able to hang out with and deal with and be fellowshipping with was family. And I encourage that in our communities to make sure to remind the community and community members to stay very close to our families until this process is cleared. One thing that I do know for a fact is that we are the bridge. We are the bridge from government, local agencies and resources to the people in our communities. Sometimes our political leaders are not going to listen to the needs of the people, but we have an ability to go get things done and not override them or overstep on them, but we're already used to, as community leaders, to go get the job done. So I don't stop doing what I haven't been doing since 1982. I might have a title now, but the point is that God has always ordained us to go do and go conquer everything on a single and daily basis, because he has empowered us to bring change to people differently. In every community is different. I work with women in crisis. Lysandra Guzman, who's the mother to Junior Guzman. She's a very close friend of mine. We minister to her on a daily basis. I meet with her, we pray for her from the very beginning. Now we have Brandon Hendricks, his mother. I deal with her, we counsel her, we make sure that all these women in crisis have everything that they need and when they need it. As part of being a district leader, in my district, with my male district leader, because we're a team, we're going to go and work accordingly to all districts and all communities because they all matter. Now, as the African community, I am honored to say that they have called me to work with them many times, with the Ghana community, but with the Belmont fires that we had in the Bronx, I was able to be their national leader, where we raised over $350,000 on a GoFundMe page for all those families that were in the fires and from the services that they had, and we helped them. And even Mr. Mensua, and Mr. Mensua lost his son who was in the military. So there's ways for us to be not only the voice, but God's vessel to go and tear down the barriers, to educate our communities, to be wiser and empowered. And if we thrive, then they should thrive even greater because you represent them. So I'm excited about being a district leader. Wow. Oh, and being invited here with you, Mona.
No, thank you. Thank you. No, I mean, clearly district leaders do a lot and have great responsibility. Our next female district leader, Miss Pamela Stewart-Martinez.
Hi, thank you, Mona, for so much for inviting us all here. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm really excited about being a district leader. Some information about me: I've lived in this community for over 20 years. I have 7 children. I've raised them in the 87th Assembly District for that amount of time. My oldest is 28. My youngest is 11. I spent a bulk of my time originally I worked for corporate America, and honestly, it wasn't fulfilling to me. I didn't feel like I was helping my community. In fact, the company I worked for, I appreciated the fact that they gave me a job, but I felt that some of their tactics were hindering my community. So I felt like I was in a battle every day that I went to work, until finally I decided that I just couldn't do it anymore. And I spoke to my husband, and he agreed, and we made the conscious decision, because we were able to, that I could leave my job and actually give back to a community that has given so much to me. I'm very focused on education, and I've been involved I started out as the co-president of the Citywide Council for Special Education. I did that for about 2 years. I've been president of the Bronx High School Federation, second vice president of CPAC. These are all education councils. I've worked on, I've been the education chair for NAN. I've done a lot of things to help our families and our communities understand what their educational rights are for their students, and also to help people protect their rights within our school system. It's unfortunate that I have to bring up protecting, advocating, because these are things that by law we're supposed to have automatically. It shouldn't be a fight to educate children. It shouldn't be a situation where you have to teach parents how to advocate appropriately for their children in a school system that's supposed to support our communities, but unfortunately, we're not there yet. And some people would say, because I ran for district leader, but I also ran for other positions, and I was told, well, you're a one issue candidate, but it's impossible for you to care about education and that be it, because the 1.1 million children that you represent or you're advocating for, a huge chunk of them live in public housing. Some of their parents receive Section 8. Some of their parents suffer from income injustices, food scarcity. So when you talk about health issues, insurances, when you talk about our 1.1 million children in the school system, you're advocating not just for their education, but for their families to have a life which promotes their education. So it's impossible to be a one issue candidate. So I do a lot of education stuff in my community. I was also on the Lunch for Learning parent caucus. We were the ones who pushed so hard for universal free lunch so that no one in New York City has to pay for school lunch if their children attends a school that receives the federal lunch program. So these are some of the things that I worked on. I write resolutions and bills for anyone who kind of needs it when there's a lapse in our legal system that seems to overlook something in our community that someone needs. So, I mean, I already do a lot. I'm so excited about having this job because I feel like it'll give my community an opportunity for more things to be pushed through and help them. And so I'm very happy about that. I hope I didn't go over my time.
Slightly, but it's okay. Well, thank you. I mean, clearly, education seems to be a common passion among our four female district leaders. And now we're going to continue on with our male district leaders. We'll start first with Kevin Riley.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you, Mona, for having me tonight. I think this is very vital to understand the role of a district leader and know the functions of how the Democratic County Party works. Without further ado, I'm Kevin Riley. I'm a male district leader since 2017. My predecessor was Senator Jamal T. Bailey. I currently work with Speaker Carl Hasty as his Community Relations Director. I've been with the Speaker since 2008. When I was an undergrad studying politics, economics, and law. I wasn't interested in politics, but I was very interested in my community. And when I was brought into the Speaker's office, I grew a love for it. I was able to get this district leader position in 2017, and I love it. Other hats I also wear is I'm a founder of the Dad Gang, a nationwide organization focused on changing the narrative of Black fatherhood. I'm also recently just founded a community organization group called Music Over Violence, utilizing the tool of music to de-escalate violent situations in our neighborhood. The district leader position is very, very important to our neighborhood and to bridge the gap between community and elected officials. And I'm just excited that we are able to share what we do on a daily basis and what we have planned for our community moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll continue on with Jean Edwards. Jean, we can't hear you. You're muted. Can you unmute?
All right, how about now? Is that better?
It's better, but your sound is not that
Static.
good.
Static, yeah.
What about now?
Say something.
That's better? Okay.
Yes.
Good evening to all my counterparts, male and female, district leaders.
We're still having static on your line.
Okay. Good evening to all my counterparts and to Mona, our host, and everyone who well.
My suggestion, Gene, if you have a cover on your phone, you may have to take it off.
I do not. I'm not sure what's going on. Mona, can you?
Yeah.
Can you please skip me and come back to me later?
Yes, I can. All
right, thank you.
Yes, so we will continue on with Marco Sierra.
Hi, good evening, everyone, both male and female honorable district leaders. It's a pleasure to be a part of this panel with all of you.
We're having the same issue now with your phone.
Really?
Okay, there we go.
Is that better?
Well.
Okay. Still?
No, let's try.
How's that? Is that better?
There's like static at the end.
That's weird. Hold on, let me just try some headphones.
Yeah, the same.
Marcos? Okay. Yeah, it's still there. We're going to come back to you in a second. Let's continue on for now with Yves.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right. Good evening, Mona. Thank you for having me. And good evening, my colleagues in the districts in the greatest borough of the city, the Bronx. My name is Yves Filius, representing the 77th Assembly District, the communities of Claremont, Mount Morris, Concourse, Highbridge, and Mount Eden. I am newly elected to this seat. This is my first time around. However, I've been in the district all my life, born and raised first generation American from Haitian parents. I started actually in the 79th in politics, working for former Assemblyman Michael Benjamin. I then transitioned to 77th and worked with then Assemblywoman, now Councilwoman Vanessa Gibson. I worked with her through her assembly and council, and from there I transitioned and worked for the first citywide elected woman, Letitia James, as the public advocate. I was her special assistant, and then I learned a slew of things for the citywide aspect. I then transitioned to the Bronx Democratic Party as the political director, and I'm now currently the lobbyist for the New York Civil Liberties Union, the ACLU of New York. So I'm pushing legislation for all New Yorkers across the state, and I'm blessed and thankful that the 77th Assembly District chose me to be the male district leader. I work in conjunction with the councilwoman and the assemblywoman of my district, Latoya Joyner and Councilwoman Vanessa Gibson, as well as Senator Jose Serrano, who we've done a slew of events together, from park cleanups to food giveaways, food distributions during this pandemic time, PPE distributions. So just working out and trying to galvanize, I guess, hope during this thoughtful time. So thank you again, Mona, for bringing us together and then sharing our ideas and seeing how we can move forward during this time. So.
No, thank you. So we're going to return back. Jean, are you there? We want to try your audio again.
Yeah, I'm back. Is that better?
Continue talking.
Well, my name is Gene Edwards, and I've been a long time community advocate and a community servant. Princess Jones is my counterpart in the 79th Assembly District, and Brother Yves Filius is the neighboring district to the 79th, and I'm proud of all the works that they've done throughout the years. Like I said, I've been a community servant. On a personal note, as far as my bio, I'm a child of NYCHA. I'm a child of the Bronx. I went to public schools, and after graduation, I enlisted to the Navy to travel the world and get an education. Unfortunately, I found myself wrapped up in a war, the invasion of Iraq, in which I served 3 combat tours, and I was meritoriously awarded for my bravery. There was a time where I felt as though I was doing more harm to the world than good. So after 10 years of service, I left the Navy and I came back home to the Bronx. I saw employment at Columbia University, where I taught hazardous materials and environmental compliance and laboratory safety. And I did that for 6 years, but that wasn't enough. I felt like that was self-serving, but it still wasn't service to the community. I live in Concourse Village, and my terrace is adjacent from the Bronx Hall of Justice. And every night I would see the bus leaving to go to Rikers Island, and that bus was carrying a bunch of men of color. And I thought to myself, how good would it be if I were able to work within the system as opposed to listening to men of color that stand on the soapbox and say, oh, the system is against us. Let me find out how the system works. So I sought employment with the Bronx District Attorney, and I've been there for over 9 years. In fact, December will make 10 years where I've served as a court clerk. What I do in the community, I'm part of an organization called Miss Ann's World, where we focus on youth literacy. I've also been working with an organization called the Children's Literacy Society, where the organization is founded by a woman named Sophia Diggs and another woman named Lucille. Now, here is where it gets interesting. Sophia Diggs is the younger sister of RZA of Wu-Tang Clan. So Wu-Tang Clan is behind this organization. So we talk about pushing it and making it big and promoting youth literacy. The reason why I do it is because I've seen, before they did criminal justice reform, I would see 17 and 18-year-olds walking in my courtroom in orange jumpsuits, shackled from wrist to feet. And at the time that was going on, I had a child that was 17 and 18-year-old. And I thought to myself, the only way we can keep these young men and women out of jail is by getting to them. You know, as President Douglas once said, it's easier to train a child than to fix an unbroken man. So that's been my passion. I know that my female counterparts have echoed on education, and sisters, I echo the same. And I'm proud of the work that everyone has done. I wanted to be a district leader because that's exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to lead. And sometimes when one leads, you find yourself by yourself. That's what it's all about, being in front and then bringing everybody along with you. And you do that by understanding and having your ear to the street and having your finger on the pulse of your community. That's the only way that you can lead. And I'm sure I'm under 3 minutes. Sorry for the technical difficulties, ladies and gentlemen, but thank you.
Thank you. And now, Marco, Sierra, I see you have headphones on.
I'm giving it a shot. Is this better?
Oh, your
No.
audio is not good at all.
Not good.
Yeah, what about if you put your phone, just use your phone on speaker or on your laptop?
Can you hear me now?
Uh, it's a bit better.
Yeah, I think my phone has just fallen one too many times, you know. But I will do my best. I will speak slowly. So thank you, Mona, for inviting me and my colleagues in low-level government to take part in this panel discussion and talk about what district leaders do. I represent the 80th Assembly District, which covers Norwood, Morris Park, Pelham Parkway, some sections of Pelham Gardens, and Van Ness, and Abington Avenue. I recently won the election. I was the district leader in 2012. I was appointed by then Assembly Member Mark Gilnine, who has now been since elevated to City Council. I've worked on the campaign for our current Assemblywoman, Natalia Fernandez, which was a success, thank God. I cut my teeth in politics in that particular race in 2012.
Marcos, really,
yeah.
it's really, really difficult to hear you. Like really difficult. Like we're only hearing like really, really like bits and pieces. Yeah, we can work on.
Let me see if I can get another set of headphones.
Yeah, yeah, or dial in from another number if you can.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll try that.
Yeah,
try
yeah.
that.
Please do.
Okay.
Please do.
I will.
Yes. So, so now that you know, we know a little bit more about everyone's background and why you decided to become a district leader. I, you know, just very short, very brief. Could, you know, we'll start first with Yudelka. If you could tell us now with the COVID-19 pandemic and what's going on in your district with families, as district leader, how do you plan on supporting and advocating for your constituents? And that's a question for the entire panel. But if you could just briefly tell us how priority in your district.
Well, it's not a secret that the Bronx was the epicenter of the coronavirus. In the Bronx is where more people have died from the coronavirus. And we know what the issues are because, I mean, the coronavirus is a new pandemic, but we've been fighting many pandemics through the years, for many years. We were fighting the pandemic of poverty. We were fighting the pandemic of no access to healthcare. We were fighting the pandemic of affordable housing, not affordable housing. We were fighting the pandemic of not having a good school in our neighborhoods. So we've been fighting pandemics forever. So this one is on top of all the fighting that we've been doing through the years, and has made it really, really, really difficult for many of our community members. Because I mean, I have seen so many people that I know that I'm not going to see them again because they're gone. And they're gone because maybe they have underlying conditions that in the Bronx, if you name it, all the underlying conditions are in here in the Bronx because we don't have access to good good health food that actually are healthy for us, and we don't have access to to have the time to exercise. We don't have the education. We don't have, if you name all the underlying conditions, and we have it, we have them all. We have the highest rate for asthma, and those are the ones who actually precipitate the death of many of our people that have contracted the virus. And it's very difficult when you go out to the community and you know that people are in need. And for the last 16 weeks, I've been bringing to the community food, vegetables, PPEs, all helping the small businesses community, bringing all the needs for many people that are homeless. And being homeless in this pandemic has been the worst for many people. And we cannot even imagine what's going to happen when actually that moratorium goes out, and many of our, we're going to have more than 20,000 people here in the Bronx that might lose their home and going to become homeless if we don't push harder. I mean, to the elected officials and to all the people that actually have to make policy in this case. And I think, I mean, that's part of the job that we do. We organize the community also to do those pushes that are needed for things to happen. And this pandemic has demonstrated that. And I've been doing that, I mean, forever. It's been really sad when you see that people, because of dignity, don't want to come to pick up the food, but they have to. And you see in the faces how devastated they feel when they had to do that because they have children. Because, I mean, we have a crisis, I mean, mental health issues, I mean, with this pandemic. Because, I mean, the children have been inside, and we had to be also being counselor to many of the members of our community, because, I mean, sometimes they are so frustrated and they really feel like that we're being left alone. And this is something that is going on. I don't think, I mean, it's not going to get better soon. I don't see that our governments are doing anything that's going to ameliorate what is going on anytime soon. We see the crisis that we have with the Board of Education right now. I mean, and the fact that they want to open the schools, I mean, and all the controversies that come with that, and how, I'm so sorry, yeah. And how.
I think okay. For a second there, Yudelka, I think we lost you. No, you touch on
to the children.
Yeah, sorry. Because we want to know from each of the district leaders, like what are the key issues for each of you that you're going to address and advocate for. Pamela, for you, education has been your passion. Now the district leader, what else are you going to be pushing for your community and for your constituents?
Okay, thank you so much. You're absolutely right. Education is definitely number one. But also, I think we need true criminal justice reform in our community. And I think we really need to take a hard look at when we have returning citizens, formerly incarcerated individuals, how we treat them when they come out, how we're helping them when they come out. Once you pay for whatever crime you were accused of and found guilty of, there needs to be an opportunity for people to get back on their feet, and there should not be roadblocks or barriers, because that's how we're going to see a return rate of people returning back to correctional facilities. Example, I met a gentleman on Primary. We talked. His life consists of, I go to work, I come home, I don't leave my house because I don't want to get in any kind of trouble. I don't want to accidentally get caught up in anything. That's his entire life. He goes nowhere. He doesn't socialize, nothing. He stays in his house. And he's not complaining about that. What he complained to me about was the fact that he does some sort of truck driving business. And in this truck driving business that he does, he has to have a commercial license and he has to have commercial insurance. He gets charged double for his insurance because he's a returning citizen. He's a formerly incarcerated individual. So not only, and that's not just his commercial insurance, that's also his regular insurance just for having a regular driver's license. So how can you expect people to stay on the straight and narrow if we keep creating roadblocks for their return to the community? I also feel like, so, I mean, looking at what happens in the correctional facilities are important to me, making sure that from the day that they arrive in those institutions, that they're actually working on a plan for their release. So when they come out, they're prepared. They know exactly where they're staying. They've got a trade under their belt. They have money saved up. They have a plan in place, whether it's returning to school, whether it's employment, but we should not be releasing people without a plan in place and helping them obtain their goals. I mean, so, I mean, that's another thing I really want to look at is what happens in the correctional facilities, how we treat people who are returning citizens, our veterans as well. We have people who have fought for this country, who give up their life for this country, and then they come back home and they don't have opportunities that everyone else has. Doors are closed in their face. They can't afford medication. You know, the VA hospitals are stretched to their limits. There's so many things that we should be working on in our community for people who live in our community, who should be given opportunities, and they're not given those opportunities. And going back to returning citizens again, keep in mind, they're going to be your neighbors, they're your relatives, they're going to be people that may work with you. Why wouldn't you want someone to come back and be able to be the best citizen that they can be? And so these are the things that concern me about our community and different things that we need to help all of the members of our community get a leg up on.
So let me ask a question. We understand that the district leaders, you all are that liaison. You know, you're that bridge, as Irene aptly described. So you know what ails your community. You know the struggles of your constituents. Have any of you, in your role as district leaders and engaging the elected officials in your district, have any of you pushed for any type of legislation? Is that part of your, what we would say, your responsibility in serving the interests of your district?
I've actually written some legislation. I wrote just on the topic we just discussed about car insurance. I wrote a bill for that, and I've given it to a few assembly people and state senators. I've written a bill on for the school system. I've written countless resolutions. I'm hoping that it's just what's frustrating to me is that before I was elected as a district leader, I would just give legislation to people and not look for credit, because a lot of the electeds that were in office that I was approaching would not pick up my legislation because they said, well, you're running for state senate, or you're running for assembly, or you're helping this person run, so I can't really do this and let people know that this is your legislation. And of course, I walked away from it. I'm hoping now things will be a little bit different. I'm a district leader. I'm working directly with them. You know, people will be a little more receptive of taking the legislation and not be afraid of where it comes from.
So I see Marcus, you here?
Can you hear me?
Oh, now, yep.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
That's great.
That's great. You saw.
Yay!
you know, again, with you, can you just briefly tell us about yourself, your district, and being someone, also answer this question, and it's the same question I have for our other district leaders, who this is their second or third tenure as district leaders. If you all ever push for legislation, when a constituent or a community member says this is a problem, does it fall under your purview to also try to work with your elected officials, the legislators, to pass legislation that would benefit the community? So, yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So really quickly, Marco Sierra, it's a pleasure. Thank you, Mona, for giving myself and my colleagues this platform so that we can, talk to our community and let them know who we are and what we do. I represent the 80th Assembly District, which covers Norwood, Allerton, Morris Park, Pelham Parkway, and sections of Pelham Gardens and Van Nest. I was appointed to the district leadership position back in 2012 by then Assembly member Mark Jonai, who is now the sitting council member. I stepped down in 2018 to take care of my mom. She was battling cancer. She's in a better place now. And in 2020, I decided that I missed doing what I was doing, which was bringing resources to the community, being that go-to person to help people solve their problems, from getting food to applying for food stamps or the social safety nets, et cetera. And it's something that my mom instilled in me from when I was younger. She was my first example of a social justice warrior, and I'll treasure that forever. So to answer your question, as far as working with electeds to get legislation passed, yes, the district leaders do not only act as a bridge to the community, between the community and the elected officials, but we also act as a conduit to the elected officials in bringing them issues that are pressing and that need legislation. For example, a couple of years ago, I'm not sure if you recall, we had this issue with K2 in our communities. It was destroying our communities. It was like zombie land. There were certain members in the North Bronx and organizations that were working to either eliminate or mitigate the damage that was being done by this drug. So I connected those organizations with then Assembly Member Mark Jonai, who worked with then Senator Jeff Klein, and they ultimately passed legislation that helped get K2 off our streets and out of the stores.
Wow.
I was happy to have been part of that. And as district leader, those are the things that we should be doing, because like everyone has said, we are the bridge to the electeds and the community. And oftentimes it's very difficult for community-based organizations to reach out directly to the members and express to them the urgency in getting a bill passed, like the one that they did for K2.
Wow. No, I mean, that's good. That's good to hear. You know, one of the responsibilities that I understand for district leaders is that you are also involved in the election process. You know, Yves, could you touch on that responsibility when it comes to elections? And then I'm curious if any of you, if you could chime in, if any of you are doing any type of voter registration drives to, get your constituents registered to vote. And then also, I'm also curious what you plan on doing, or what type of, if you plan on having any workshops, what type of outreach do you plan on conducting with regards to informing and educating your constituents, your residents about ranked choice voting. Because I would think, and I may be wrong, and that's why we're having this panel, is that something, since it's election related, if that's something that would fall under, you know, the responsibilities of a district leader. So Yves?
Yes. To answer your question, so the district leader basically ensures that there is a voting block within the assembly district, right? In order for you to be in office, you have to have a field of folks that would believe in you and also believe in the elected official in the community. So the district leader really spearheads and I guess is the cowboy of the Wild West within the district of herding, not just herding, but gathering folks and encouraging them to not only be a voice, but to be a vessel in the process, meaning not just registering to vote, but also working on election day. If you have the opportunity to be a poll worker, that is another job. We have that opportunity of gaining folks, and lastly, of maintaining a club within the community. Sometimes, usually members of the club are just citizens in the community. They come from every walk of life. If you, it could be the owner of a store to a taxi driver. Every walk of life is a member of a club, and that encourages at least a group of folks that are passionate about change in the community. And have we done well? And I am a part of the Jerome A. Green Club, and I'm thankful my colleague is my female counterpart is Councilwoman Vanessa Gibson. So together, and another member, of course, is Assemblywoman Joyner, and there are a slew of members of our club. And from this club, we have a lot of poll workers on election day that are members of the community. So this is a way of just having people that are interested, that continuously are there every day, helping those that are in need.
Okay,
In
so
regards to ranked choice voting, I will say that we will, hopefully when we have the opportunity of meeting up again, we will have workshops. We have monthly meetings, and within the meetings we do not just voter registration drives, of course, but we have guests that come in and speak about what is upcoming, but we really try to educate our members.
So my question is, what about, you know, outside of your members, the constituents? For example, Jean, you cover Concourse Village. Concourse Village, we have a lot of seniors. Kevin covers Co-op City. Co-op City also has a lot.
Oh no, not for the district leader. I don't cover co-op for district leader.
Okay, all right, okay. So my bad, but just full disclosure, I'm in Co-op City, so you know, I'm in his city council district. So you know, but no, I mean, my question is for. It's not, and you know, Irene and Yudelka too, if you can chime in on this, there with elections and with ranked choice voting and with what's coming up, you know, we have people, you know, who are constituents who English is their second language. We have senior citizens in Concourse Village and you know, places like Co-op City, and just in general, it's our seniors that come out, and with this brand new form of voting, you know, does it fall on you, the district leaders, to help educate and inform your constituents about how ranked choice voting works? So I'm just, you know, I'm curious with our Hispanic community, I'm curious about our senior citizens, like who, you know, is this something that also falls on you because it's election related?
Yes.
I think, okay, I think
Anybody
you
go?
mentioned me, I mentioned Irene. Let me do it. Yes, I've been, for example, in February we did, we founded the Great Island Democratic Club in 1994. And the club has been instrumental in reaching out and bringing a lot of education. But the first voter registration drive that we did it in February. We do 5 or 6 during the year, and different parts of the northwest part of the Bronx. And my district is, Morris Heights, University Heights, a little bit of Tremont, and that part of the district, as you say, muy bien, it has there are many Latinos in that, say that the first language is not English. And we have a lot of seniors too. For example, what we're doing now for the seniors, during the pandemic, I found out that many seniors die at the hospital. I think people were not able to get, their family were not able to get there to see them. Many of them die, and they didn't even leave a power of attorney for the children or for family to take care of the things. And I found that's very important. So we are starting next week, trying to go to the senior buildings, and we have identified many in our district to bring young lawyers and people to explain to them why it's so good for that. So that's something that came up with the pandemic. But we also, with the ranked choice, we already did one thing for the community at the end of last year, trying to figure out how that was gonna work. And the pandemic, of course, has prevented many of the events that we do in the community not to be done, because not many people know how to manage this. I guess that many of us are gonna become masters in using Zoom meetings and all of these ways of communicating that are very important, because I think that we are never going to go back to the normal that we would have before, and many of the things we're going to have to do it this way. But I think yes, we being instrumental in registering voters, in a consistent way every year for many years, and in educating the community in all of those terms. Also for the poll workers and what we have to do for that, I've been also, it was very important to me for young people to understand how important it is for them to know how the election process, voting works, and do it, because it's a civic action that we are doing when we do that.
Yeah.
And we were successful in putting many young people from our district and working in many of the elections. And I have many that are the ones who manage many of the poll sites that are in there, because they understand that, and that's what we wanted, for them to understand that it was a civic action that they're doing when they allowing people and serving people the right to vote, and why it's so important for everybody to know how that process works. And I think, yes, it's incumbent on us as district leaders, but it's also a thing that every one of us had to advocate every day. Because look what we're going through now with the voting by mail. How they want to suppress our votes because they don't want us to vote, and we have to, that's the truth. They don't want us to vote. And so I think it's incumbent in every citizen, in every person, not necessarily a citizen, in every resident of our district, to be involved and to know how this process is and why it's so important for us to participate.